everyone. Welcome back to the Meet the Peeps podcast. This is episode 8, and we have Ivan with us today, or as everyone else here knows him as Voja. So introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? Why are you here?
Thank you so much, Tony, for this lovely introduction. Hey guys, I'm Ivan or Vuja, that probably most of you know me as. I am an RIT alumni. I graduated in 2020, May. And since then, I've been working. I was a bit outside of the country. I worked in Hungary, in Morgan Stanley for 2 years. And now I came back home and here to Croatia, and yeah, it's nice to be here. And thank you so much for inviting me, because it's always nice to come back to your
Visit campus?
to visit campus and see all the lovely people that you used to go to school with, and yeah, it brings very nice memories.
Yeah, I mean, they smile when you show up. They don't smile when
Yeah.
you show up.
Well, that's because they're seeing you every day. You know, like if I
I
would
don't-
see you every
I-
day,
I want-
dude, I wouldn't smile.
I want to say true, but I know that's not true. So,
Well, it's okay. Maybe they just miss me, for something.
so before we get into the whole meat of what you do, we're gonna do the background part first. So, what brought you to RIT?
What brought me? Actually, I can thank that to my dad. I mean, my dad was reading the newspapers, and then one day he just saw this, like, hey, there's this American college school, they offer some scholarships, like, check that out. And my dad is usually, like, he just sees something, I'm like, yeah, you check it out. And I'm like, you don't even know what it, okay. And then I checked it, and I started to be interested, and because I was going to economics vocational high school, I knew that I want to go into business or economics field of study. So I said, yeah, why don't let's check it out? And I started the application process. I came here, I visited lecture. There were pretty nice and lovely people working in a recruitment department at that time, same as always. But yeah, and I came to the campus. I remember first time when I came, I was like, wow, am I even in Croatia?
Then you realize it's just a hallway.
Yeah, and that was just the hallway. No, because I had friends who are, older friends who were studying at, Croatian universities, public schools, and I visited some lectures already, and yeah, this was something different. And then, yeah, I applied, and luckily I got an internship scholarship, and yeah, a few years later, now we're here.
You prepared a lot more than I did for college. I mean, it shows, right?
No,
I never visited. Excuse me?
I said right.
Sure you did.
no, I mean, I didn't prepare. It just, like,
I
it
never.
came.
I didn't even know visiting in class was an option.
No. No, that was.
Look, I was
that-
sold on it, but the part that pains me the most is having to admit that RIT's marketing worked.
Oh, and it still works. Although I think they need to, adjust some targeting, because I'm still getting, the ads like apply
That's because
scholarship.
you still haven't finished your MS here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but okay.
I don't get those emails.
No, not emails, but just ads, and I'm like,
I don't
okay.
get the ads either. They probably don't want me back at this point. I mean, look, they did bring me back, right? I'm on the
Oh
podcast.
yeah, that's.
I'm finishing my master's.
Life is good right now.
So, why finance specifically? Obviously, you said like economics was your thing, but was there a sort of like a breaking point where you realized finance
Yes.
was cooler?
I could remember when. So basically when I came to college, right, I was thinking that I'm gonna do marketing because I had a great professor in my high school, marketing professor, and I really fell in love with it, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do marketing, you know. And then I came to college, and we had some marketing classes, and I mean, like it was okay, but on my first year and then second year, it was last semester of first year and then first semester of second year, I started to get finance classes and accounting and, you know, like management accounting. And then I was like, okay, I think I want to go into this field. Why finance? I think, you know, when you look at any business, okay, it always depends what you want to do. But for me, finance, you know, it's a core of every business. It's basically, you know, why people do business is to make profit, right? The bottom line in the end, it matters. If it's not there, you're doing something wrong. And because of my background, because I love maths and I always did love it, I was thinking, you know, this is something more appropriate for me and for my interests. And I had a feeling like this is something that is tangible and this is something that every business needs. And if I understand finances kind of, you know, to some extent or to a great extent, then I'm going to be able to, you know, understand business better also. And so at that point, I kind of realized that I decided that I'm going to take a finance minor.
So you're happy. I mean, by the looks of things, you're pretty happy with that decision, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, well, I'm happy with that. I don't want to say anything about other minors because we have some people who studied other minors. But no. Yeah, I'm happy. I think it's very beneficial. I mean, the knowledge you get and, you know, kind of the understanding you get also about the business.
So is there any skills or information that like apply in your line of work right now? Is there something that
From
you learned
finance?
that you learned in college that you sort of still use either a skill or a knowledge or fact?
Absolutely not. No. I'm kidding. No, a lot of things actually. I was surprised. I mean, some things you study, right? It's college, it's studies. It's not so. Let's say it's not that level. It's not industrial. It's not
Yeah.
professional. But the concepts are pretty much the same. And for me, it was very beneficial also if you want to do finance or whatever you want to do. But, you know, specifically finance, there's a lot of, you know, just terminology and concepts that when you get to know them, you will also, you know, you come to your work or job place, and then you see that, you know, the things are done there differently, of course, than you did it in class. But the principle is the same. And then if you have the understanding, it really helps you in your early years.
Yeah,
I think.
it helps to pick up. I mean, it's sort of similar in the IT world as well, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's only so much that they can teach that'll be relevant after you graduate, just because there's way too many intricacies in pretty much any field of work for you to be prepared for them in a class or 3 classes or even 4 years of
And I think, honestly, I think IT is even more challenging to an extent that it changes more rapidly, right? Because I mean, like the languages and new stuff that are
It
coming,
does,
you always have to
but
be
it's
into it.
more or less, other than some very specific, very new stuff that's going on right now with like asynchronous programming and stuff. Anyway, without getting too into it, it's still applied. The same principles still apply.
Yeah.
It depends, obviously, what your line of work is, because programming for robots and programming for websites isn't the same, except it kind of is.
You just want to talk about robots, admit it.
Who doesn't want to talk about robots? Oh, I'm sorry. Are they not cool?
Not when they're the kind of robots you worked on.
What kind of robots did you work on?
Forklifts.
That's fun. Can you use it like to, like when I'm having a party that you're programming, that it brings, me like
could.
a hot tub full of
It could.
beer or James?
A hot tub of beer.
Or
Why would we need a hot tub of beer?
you have like in Budapest, you have places where you go and you can swim in beer.
Okay. I mean,
I don't know why
it
people
doesn't
do
sound
that.
like a bad idea.
And maybe it's good for your skin. Like
guess.
beer, it's natural product. Like
Sure. So during your time at college, you and me both, and our couch as well, have been sort of
high couch.
on the more active side of the student body. What with the SG and some clubs that you had that were very successful, even among IT people. So what's that? What was that about? Talk to me.
Talk to me. Come on. Open up. No, yeah, clubs. I like that about RT. I didn't. I mean, like you start as a freshman, right? You don't know so many things, then you start to get to know how things function. And there was investment club. I mean, there's a lot of clubs. There's like sports clubs. There was robotic. I don't know if it's still. But okay, a lot of clubs, and then you can, you can look to have this, pick your interest, and if you're interested in something to develop your skills, maybe, besides of your regular curriculum. For me, when I realized that I want to do finance, right, there was investment club, so I applied and started there. After years of, like seniors leaving and whatever, then I was also leading it at some point, also with some of my colleagues and friends from college. In general, I would say I really like about RIT, but that it has the option that you can actually start your club. You just need to have, I know, enough people, and then
16?
8.
8?
8 to 10.
Okay.
But he forgot to mention that his club is like the stepping stone to Morgan Stanley at this point.
Yeah, but no. I mean,
Let's just gloss over that
I mean,
fact.
how many of you?
I mean, yeah, we'll get to that. But
Yeah.
First, I need to understand what they actually did at Investment Club.
yeah,
Invest.
so I think, at RIT you have two types of clubs, right? You can have some clubs that are purely recreational, and it's good for building, team spirit, culture, and it's great that, college actually gives you a budget for that. And then you have the clubs that are more, focused on building your skills and knowledge besides those your regular studies, that are maybe kind of more practical, right?
Useful.
Yeah, or useful, yeah. But basically, yeah, I think that's great about RIT. And then, I mean, like what you do, you always have a professor mentor. Our professors are great because they usually also work with the industry and they can give you good guidance. But what I noticed, all employers, or when you're looking for internship or a job, and everyone can basically just go to school and study and take tests. But everybody's interested in, okay, besides that, what did you do? Those extracurricular activities are what I noticed very important. And then what we did there, I mean, we had a good kind of also a decent starting point because the club existed before and some of the senior members previously, they did some good things. Then you come, you have some things that are good, but then you have a whole new team and then you have to restructure everything, and maybe also some things change, you get new insights, what might be beneficial for the club members and for the college in general. And then you reorganize and try to make it a place where members will get some kind of knowledge and experience that might actually be, as you said, useful for them when they're pursuing their careers. Investment club, it's focused on finance, but what we also started to do, organizing guest lectures and actually, trying to bring finance also to the whole RIT community and not only the club members. I think in the end, the result was pretty good. You
I'd say
might
it was great.
say.
Clearly, judging by the success rate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be, there's other clubs who also did, great jobs. So I think
They're
that's
not talking with me right now.
yeah, that's right.
So this is the moment where you're allowed to toot your own horn.
Yeah, but anyway, we did some of the things that are. I think the club really prepared our students, our members, and some of the students also for the finance field, right? You have also finance courses, and you will go to them, but this gives you something extra that is going to be beneficial, even when you come to the interview, and you're gonna have more stuff to talk about. And then, as I said, especially if you have insights from maybe ex-alumni or the people who work in the industry, you can focus your work or direction of the club more specifically, and that it has greater impact. I think in the end, it turned out pretty good. I think from my generation or that generation, that group of the club, all of our members basically, by the end of the senior year, everybody had job offers. Before that, everybody had internship offers. Some of people went outside of the country. Some of them stayed. Not all of them went to finance. But in general, I think when you look at when you look at all the people, what we did there over those, I would say, 2 years more seriously or more intensively, that the results measured in people getting the jobs and you might say like those are good places or where you would like to be. I think that's very very good legacy, and it shows that we did something that was more or less good or meaningful, right?
It was good. You mentioned internships. Well, where'd you do your co-ops? Were they fun?
Were they fun? When is working fun, Tony? Me always. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so internships, they're fun. I think internships are more fun than actually when you start working.
There's less pressure.
Yeah, because
I mean, I remember my first co-op was stressful because you have no idea what you're getting yourself into, who you're gonna disappoint or not disappoint. By the time the second co-op rolls around, you're more or less like you realize that you're an intern and
yeah,
it's cool.
I mean, like internships are great generally because you get into business world and you start to learn about some things, especially like the dynamics at the working place and the expectations. Sometimes it depends on the internship. Sometimes they are higher or lower. It really depends. But in general, I think I had actually 3 internships.
Look, Mr. Fancy over here.
No. I mean, like it was because of the timing and but.
Oh no! Wait, I had 3 internships too.
Technically, you did, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I worked while I wasn't at college.
But I mean, like that sometimes happens, and from my experience, what I noticed, because we have at RIT, it's mandatory that you have an internship after second year, right? Or even after first for IT.
Second,
and
second
third.
and third.
Okay, so basically what I noticed, first internship, just try to get, I mean, you're still second year, maybe you have the direction you want to get into. Sometimes it's not easy to get an internship in that field. especially, I mean, like it depends how competitive it is and how desirable it is. But basically, first internship, like just do whatever, just get it. Try to get a good one. If you don't get it, don't worry about it. Just work, get some experience. You will also learn things there that are going to be helpful for your future. But basically, then second internship, especially before your senior year, I always recommend that people look for internships that are connected to the direction or the industry they actually want to do, because most of the times, if you turn out to be good, and I would say, most of the times people are okay, and especially our students, like you do an internship, you prove yourself, and then they just tell you like, okay, do you want to stay, or you have a job offer when you come back. So yeah, I think, in general beneficial for the first one. That's maybe, directed to students. For the first one, don't worry too much. But for the second one, try to get.
So did any of the co-ops sort of, change is too strong of a word, sort of shape, I guess, your interests, like future interests, or did you always know you'd be finance in that specific part of finance? I don't know what the parts of finance are.
Yeah. No, well, look, I think that's also something you sometimes don't know, right? How the industry works, or I mean, like the world is great, it's huge, and the business world is huge, and the industry is also. You think you have an idea, and you have an idea what is done there, but there's so many. We live in a very focused, specialized society, especially in the business world. And then you might get into the field and say like, okay, I'm going to work in finance, but there's so many things that you can do, and your job can be much different. I mean, what you said also about the programming, right? I mean, it's not. I mean, it kind of is the same, but maybe you're programming, forklifts or websites, or some
or anything else. Yeah.
or anything. I mean, like, but it has differences, and the industry you are in, and things like that. I think it's beneficial because if you get the internship in your field that of your interest, sometimes you might get, you might even realize that you don't want to do something, right? And I think that's also great, and that's why, I mean, like, you should strive to get into the field you are interested in.
But you might not know what you're interested in.
But you might not know what you're getting yourself into.
Yep.
And that's
It's so interesting hearing you have this conversation like 3 years after, because I remember before your Morgan Stanley internships when we talked about this.
I mean, look, it depends on an internship and a company and the opportunities you will get and what you
as a
do.
person, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But I think it's, I mean, it's great if you get. I think it's great if you get an internship in the field you're interested in. But also, it can be like some subfield, right, or subsector, and you might realize, okay, I would still want to do finance, but I don't want to do this finance, or I want to program, but I'm not gonna do
Websites.
Yeah.
Ever.
Or I mean,
Again.
I mean, it doesn't matter, right? But I think it's very good, and when you're, that's what I like about RT. Internships are mandatory, and you should. But I think people shouldn't be afraid, or and don't be even disappointed if you go into some field and you get an internship and then you're like, oh, I don't want to do that. Like, it's fine. That's why you go, and
that's
you
what
even
it's
start.
for.
That's what it's for, and that's why you start even jobs and change the jobs if you want. It's not a big deal really, but that's why when you're young you have to explore and you have to learn about your interests and yourself, and
And you have to move to Budapest for work.
Well,
Or Florida.
Or Florida, right? I forgot about Florida.
not all, yeah, not
Florida,
all.
man.
Yeah, so I mean, like, my first internship was, here in Zagreb. It was like, I know, my family's friend's company. It's so random.
Supposed to say that.
And no, but
I'm kidding.
I mean,
Jeez, why are you so serious?
no, but I mean, honestly, I took it. I had other offers, but this one was paid. So, and I needed money for the summer,
I
right?
get that. I get that.
And but it's okay. I learned some things, and I even learned. I taught them some things. So that was really interesting. But then yeah, my next one was in Florida, rotational one, and then that was 6 months. And then in Budapest, it was also 6 months, and this was Morgan and yeah, credit risk. But yeah, I mean, like, do you want to talk about that? Like, how much time do we have?
We have enough time.
Talk
We
about
don't have to get into all of the specifics, but more like sort of the experience side of it, because
Amazing.
I personally, as a student at that time, it felt very inconceivable that I'd be a responsible adult in a different country.
I love this point you make, because I cannot swear, right? No, I felt, honestly, I felt the same. I was so okay. Let's talk about the States and Florida for some time. So I was never, before alone away. I'm from Zagreb. My college is here. I never moved. I never lived
We
alone.
never went anywhere.
Yeah. And then I also have a mom that is very, worried about a lot. I mean, like everybody has a mom that is worried. I don't have to explain that too much. And then, yeah, I was going to Florida. But what I want to say, sometimes I think you're not expecting, or you are not, you might work towards something, and then, opportunities in life can pop out, and that you didn't even, think it would happen. I mean, like, I went, when was that? January 2018. And I got my internship, I think it was like October, November. No, October. But if you ask me like 2 months before that, hey, Ivan, do you see yourself going to, like US and working there? I would be like, like,
No.
I'm a kid from Dubrava. Like I never went further than Vienna or Italy.
Yeah.
Like it's not something that's even
that you even consider a possibility.
yeah, it's not even an option, right? And then it comes, and like, okay, opportunity shows up, I apply, you do the interview, well, I got it, and I'm like,
wait, I need to
what?
go to the States.
Yeah, and I'm like, hey, mom,
So those co-ops that we have to do? I got a really cool one.
And then mom is like, what do you mean? Like, do you have to go? Like, couldn't you find somewhere here? And I'm like, mom, you don't understand. This is really cool. And but yeah, I think some things in life happen like that, and sometimes you don't expect it. It just opportunity shows up, and if you are, maybe proactive or interested, you might use it, and it might turn out well. Internship in the States, it was great. Ocean Reef Club, it's like a private resort. I had a rotational internship.
For anyone that might not know, what is a rotational internship?
So I rotated through different departments. So I was at the front
Every
desk.
month? Or like
It depends.
4 weeks? Oh, depends on the position.
Yeah.
probably.
So it was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks or 2 months. Like it depends on the department.
I'll ask, how was it to actually balance the first time that you were living alone and actually getting a new intern? So you have to be, I don't know, better, try at jobs. You're just like new at the place, and balancing the living alone with the internship.
It always depends on you. Like I'm a very extroverted person, and I think I'm
Don't
very.
I could never.
And
I couldn't leave my apartment.
But I'm
for 6
also
months.
very open to new experiences, right? And for me, that was it was a bit scary, right? and I
Don't say.
honestly, I didn't even realize that because my mind functions like that. Yeah, I got an internship. I was getting the visa and everything, but then it hit me when I actually came there, landed, and I'm like, okay, wait, I'm in the States now. Like, it's not even
6 months.
Yeah, and I'm here for 6 months. To come back to your question, I think it's there's shocks, whether personal. It depends on you as a person. I didn't had much problems, like but there's changes. For example, like I have to wash my own clothes.
I get it. It sounds stupid now.
No,
right?
yeah, but like mom is not there. But even just the thinking that if anything happens to me, if I break my finger or something, I'm how old I'm what, like 20-year-old kid, and I'm 6,000 kilometers away from
Anyone you know.
anyone I know. So it's also I think it puts you also in a position where you have to, you realize that. I think it's good for building your personality, but it's also good because you also have to think about the ways how to maybe do some kind of risk management, or if something happens that you are going to be okay, and you're doing that for yourself for the first time when you're 19 or 20 and 21. And I think it's a very, for me, it was a shift of like becoming more mature, of course, in a short period of time. I think there's always cultural shocks. For me, in 6 months when I was there, I never got used to the food. Honestly, I really miss Croatian food. But besides that, the experience was great. For me, it wasn't hard to balance work because it was fine. Like what you should be doing. People tell you're on your internship. You do your best always, right? You learn, and it's interesting. And then, for me, I had a great experience because I met so many people from different parts of the world. And I think that's the greatest also takeaway, the realization there's cultural differences, and there's, shocks, and things are different, and you have to get used to it. But people are also, what I realized and what I really liked, there's good people in every part of the world, in every culture, and people, no matter how different we are, when you get to actually, talk to people, and when you get to this maybe some level of depth that is not so superficial, you understand that, under the skin we are all the same. It's all
pretty much the same driving factors for everyone.
Yeah, and a lot of people in different cultures and different countries and mentalities, but people have their own problems, worries. They're different in a shape or form, but not in the essence. And I think that's really nice when you. For me, that was very nice realization, and that's the greatest takeaway, and that's why I had an amazing experience.
We keep getting these very deep, meaningful messages out of people. Not from me, from them.
Yeah.
I love it. So I'm guessing, like, after the States, Budapest got a lot easier, right? I feel that it, in theory, at least mindset-wise, it's a lot easier to be in Budapest as opposed to over the sea, right?
Well, it depends because like I knew English, okay, but Hungarian, man, that's that's a whole different story.
They don't like talking English much, do they?
Yeah, no, they. I mean, I don't want to talk about that. No, so yeah, it was easier. Budapest is close by, right? And that was also one of the things that it's close by. So I was coming back, even at least on average once a month or every 3 weeks, I would be home, which is really, like
It's easier.
It's easier because you can see your friends and family. When I was in the States, of course, like, I'm there, for at least 6 months, 7 months, and there's no one around. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So this was in some things easier, yes. But then there's also cultural shocks and everything that you have to adjust to. But yeah, overall, it was also good experience, but some things are good, some things are bad, like everything.
Obviously.
But I think it's very, wherever you go, wherever you go, you meet, you get to know different people, different culture. It helps you to put things in perspective, even, things that are happening in your country or your culture or mentality or the way of doing things. You start to see some things are better outside generally, but then you also start to notice that some things are actually pretty good, where you are. And maybe some things that you didn't even appreciate before, or you didn't have that perspective, right? So, just like go somewhere. I'm not saying, for example, I love Croatia. I came back and I want to spend the rest of my life here in the long term. But generally, if you have the opportunity to do some Erasmus, internship, student exchange, just go. It doesn't matter where it is, but try to use it. And I think college is the best time to do that. And it's the easiest.
Definitely. So we're going to go back into work a little bit, just because we have to. I know.
The adult stuff.
We have to adult. So obviously at RIT and even on our couch here, we have aspiring young finance people, whatever the term is. What's the term for finance people? Financier?
Financiers?
Sure, let's go with that. So what's it like?
I wanted to say something, but
what's it like working for one of the greats? Obviously, Morgan Stanley is like cream of the crop as far as finance goes. I guess it is. I mean, obviously, everything isn't always golden, right? Even though it's cool, I assume that they have something under the hood that's less than ideal. But what's it like? And if you have any tips on how to survive it?
I think it's really great. We had this panel, I think it was last year for the, I don't know what is career educational day or something about the corporations versus startups. And we had, I think that was really good discussion, and we had, some great insights there from other professionals from the industry. I think in general, like when you join, for me it was not first internship but it's first work, and you join a company that is like 60,000-70,000 people, top 3 investment banks in the world, really high standards, very that they know how to do business because they exist for 85 years, and they're making good money and they're really professional.
Decent money. They're okay.
They're okay. Yeah. I think there's great. Some of the great things if you join such a big company, there's a lot of knowledge, and you're gonna have a very structured. Most likely, I don't know for other companies, right? Obviously. But most likely you will have very structured onboarding and trainings. You'll get to you're going to be able to pretty quickly to maybe get to speed with things and start to contributing. That depends, as I say, but I think it's very structured. These people are doing business for 50, 60, 80, 100 years, and they know how to do it. And because they have all of this structure and processes developed, that's why they are successful in the end. That's great because you can learn a lot in a short amount of time, and I think you get pretty good amount of responsibilities early on. And I think you have a good support. It always depends on your manager and the department and whatever. So for example, those things are great, and the access to knowledge and to some of the information and data that you get there. I mean, like you're in. So and this is like top world-class level. So this is amazing what you can learn when you're pretty young. So those things are great. When we speak generally about corporations, especially big ones, there's other things that are because everything is so structured, and we live, as I already mentioned, in a very specialized society and business world. Companies usually work like that. So you might find yourself in a position after, there's a very steep learning curve, but it goes like this, and then sometimes after a while sometimes it stagnates, and you're very focused in one area. It depends on a company. Sometimes you have the opportunity to, switch departments and there's opportunities like that. But I would say that it won't be maybe as diverse, right? Because you're going to be taught how to do something. You're going to be offered trainings, onboarding, everything. You're going to know how to do that. But besides that, you won't have so much room to be kind of flexible.
Yeah.
Then when it comes also, corporations are generally, they're not flexible, right?
Yeah.
Because they're big, they're slow. If changes, things are changing in the world today, but basically, changes, if you have some ideas, somebody will listen to you, and if it's a good idea, it might get implemented, but you might wait for a long, that's like months waiting. Whether if you're in a smaller company startup, you have a good idea, yes, let's do that. It's going to be like this.
And even one thing personally hasn't happened to me, but in larger corporations, when you're not high up on the food chain, right? You get an idea, you're basically at the mercy of your boss, whether or not you're going to receive any credit for that idea. Most times
that depends on the culture. Yeah,
definitely. Most times it's perfectly fine. You get the credit and whatever comes with the credit, be it good, like career-wise, like promotions or bonuses or whatever. But on more than one occasion, I've heard either friends or colleagues say that in larger companies, mind you, this is IT oriented, they bring forward an idea related to how it might be better or it be more efficient, where someone else just takes the credit because they're a nobody, because they're a junior or mid developer. But the lack of flexibility, I think, is very prevalent in larger companies in the IT industry as well, where I feel that not all companies, obviously, but a lot of them tend to sort of pigeonhole you into, you show up as a developer, you're a junior, and then you become a mid or a senior, but you're still doing the same thing effectively. There's very little reason for anything to change, for either new technology to be implemented or new methodologies to be applied to the entire company, because it's just too big. There's no sense in even trying, which is one of the reasons I personally always steered clear of from like larger companies or corporations. Not that I could get a job there even if I wanted to, but but generally smaller companies, even startups, there's that hint of problem solving that you just don't get when everything's structured. Not to say that everything's handed to you when you work in a company, right? But it's a different type of skill set that you need.
I know what you mean. And some of those things, some of that depends on you as a person, right?
Yeah.
What you want to do and how you feel, and how do you want to do your job, but you don't know those things until you get an internship or start working, and sometimes you don't even know, people can say, okay, companies are, oh yeah, we do things like this, and then you come and maybe they do differently, or these things you just have to try.
But it's sort of,
it depends on the department and the manager, but I think in general what we can agree on that bigger system, it's more what's the English word, but it's slow.
It's slow, but it's safer, quote unquote.
It is, but yeah, it's slow. And then if you're the person but look, I think it's also, it depends what kind of person you are. If you like more dynamic environment, then like look for smaller companies or a startup. But when it comes to problem solving, there's going to be problems to be solved, and big problems like in corporations. But what is going to be, it's going to take you a while while you learn to do things their way, and that makes sense because they're doing things their way for years, and they're obviously doing it okay, at least okay, if not better. And then you come to the point when you understand something, but it's a process, and it's a learning process, and it takes time. And sometimes I think for young people, it's hard to...
It gets overwhelming.
Yeah, and it's hard to maybe adjust to that. And you're like, oh, I was at college, everything's moving so quickly, and now I'm here, and like, okay, like, it's weird.
I imagine it can feel pretty boxed in, just because it goes so slow and it's so structured that, I don't know, in some instances in my life, it always felt like it wasn't even an issue of learning how to do the job. It was learning how to do it the way they want you to do it, which is more of an issue than actually just doing the job.
But that's what I also wanted to say. I think that's a very good point, because when we speak about problem solving, right? So, you're not going to solve some big problems in your early years of the career, at least, especially if you join such a big corporation. But after a while, you're going to get to a point that, yes, you're going to have to solve problems. And, it's kind of a different problem solving. And I think that's also useful. And, what you were saying, sometimes you have ideas and you come and, okay, somebody can take it or steal it. And that depends on the culture and the company.
It's very rare.
Yes, but I mean, like, those things happen. Let's be realistic. And I don't think that's good. But it's also... when you're in a big corporation, you learn some things because in the end, if you have ideas, what we were talking about, if you want to change something, and if it's a good idea, you need to, be prepared to present a really strong case to your seniors.
Yep.
And, so that you get first maybe your manager, and then your manager's manager, and then maybe your, director, and you first have to, kind of persuade them to say like, hey, this is really good idea because of, these three things. For that, we need these resources and, this budget, or we don't need it. I think this is great because it's going to make a certain impact. But it is a difference because if you're working in a small company and, with your friends or, you might say, hey, I have an idea, like, I think it's really good, and your boss, maybe it's a good boss, and he will come and say, oh, yeah, let's do that.
And end of discussion, yeah.
Idea might be great, and maybe it's not. It doesn't matter. If we go from a position that it's a really good idea, still when you're in a big corporations, there's a lot of people that you need to
impress,
and
persuade.
And that is kind of a skill that is...
It is so hard to learn.
Yes, but it's very useful.
It is, because
people in the business world actually, that's the most you're doing. Or that you're doing.
Because not only that, it helps when you analyze your own ideas.
Yeah.
Because you learn how to both defend when people start poking holes in your ideas, but you also learn how to poke holes in ideas.
you start to be also critical of yourself, and then you might even, you're refining your ideas that
Yeah,
might
that is
yeah,
a
made
very
them-
valuable skill that is hard to acquire outside of a corporation. I think it was for me, and it still is for me. I don't know if it applies to every corporation, but it might. All right. We're gonna move on to our either or questions. Success through luck or success through skill?
Okay, shortly, I don't believe in luck.
All right.
So, but I think I believe in good timing. So I think success is not something that comes
Just comes,
overnight.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's overnight success story is what people say. It's like 10 years after, and then it's overnight. So skills, try to develop yourself, hard skills, soft skills especially. And then, luck is going to be depends on the timing, opportunity that's
Yeah.
present, and your proactivity. But yeah, skill.
I agree with you. Not gonna lie, if luck was a thing, I'd choose luck. Careful planning or improvisation?
Both.
Both. It's an either or question, so we have to choose one.
But we start from careful planning. That's
All
I
right.
think that's prerequisite.
Take a chance early or buy in when it's defined?
That's the question everybody needs to answer for themselves.
Well, which is why I'm asking you.
That's how it works.
I'm waiting for you to answer it.
I would say early. Try to be proactive.
Proactive, so
So
get
you're
in
the one
early.
who's gonna wait for a new iPhone in line.
Oh no, for that no.
Silly hats or silly socks?
Hats.
I'm both.
I miss your hat.
I know I have one. Oh, I should have brought it. Next time.
I can't make that decision between hats or socks.
Yeah, I know, but I used to wear a hat all the time.
I know, I remember. Video meetings or in-person meetings?
In person.
In
Thank
person,
Jesus.
definitely. Yes, absolutely. And now we're on to some closing questions. The deepest of them, all of the deep questions. How do you keep motivated? Tell us your secret.
I don't.
Right.
Motivation is
So coffee and spite is motivation.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I wanted to say never mind.
All right.
We're gonna be
What's the one thing you're most proud of?
Look.
That was more important than motivation.
Okay.
What are you most proud
No,
of?
motivation is. I want to answer
Fine,
motivation.
let's answer motivation then.
Motivation is it comes and goes. Everybody has to deal with that. Some people have it more, some people have it less. I think some of the things
I never have any.
I think at some point in your life you're just gonna be, like if something has to be done, you just get it done, and it shouldn't depend on your motivation on a given day. And then motivation, everybody has their own techniques. For some it works better, not that important. I mean, it depends. What I'm really proud of actually my kind of volunteering experience. What we did at college for the kids from for the home for neglected
kids,
children in Zagreb. And I did a similar project kind of in high school, and I'm very proud of that. And I'm super proud that we did that in college too. And this is some of the things that, I can be proud of so many things, but a lot of that is kind of, this is.
We do have to shout out the SG, especially this year, for the charity auction and the funds raised. That was this year's, or technically last year, was definitely an all-time record,
Absolutely.
convincingly. So yeah, it's really cool that the college even thinks about stuff like that as an opportunity to get students involved. And yeah, that's it. That's a good thing to be proud of.
But
definitely.
I think that's also something that if you get exposed to this, like at RIT, which is great that you do, because like you can be proud. I'm proud of some
Work
things.
thing.
Yeah. But in the end, when you notice, and I know it depends what's important to you. I'm proud of a lot of that I did or where I went, but when I look at that, it's not even comparable to some of the. When you really do good things, then that's.
And the last question for today: do you have any advice for people out there, like a quote?
Students, alumni. See,
Everybody.
who is my target audience?
You're a life
Whoever you
coach right
want.
now.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I don't like giving out advices, but
If you end up, if you're not sure about the advice, just say, "But I don't know though."
then I don't know.
Then you're excused. It's fine.
No, maybe a couple of messages that I believe in, right? And it doesn't matter, but be your own competition. Find good role models, but also be aware that they're just people who probably have flaws and they're not perfect. So
Don't
really
put them on a pedestal.
really think of the things that you take from them that are that you're looking up to, but don't think nobody's perfect. And I think it just like don't be an a-hole, right? And just be good, be kind, especially when whatever you do, you're always doing something with people, and nobody's gonna remember that report you did or at work how you done something. Like in the end, people remember people, and this is what my managing director from Morgan Stanley, right? We were also talking about these things, and always be kind, because you never know. Everybody has their problems. You never know what the people are going through. In business, when you can be kind, help out, be a good person, and it's gonna just be normal,
Yeah.
and it's gonna come back to you in one way or another.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
So that's a wrap on this episode, which is our final episode of the Meet the Peeps podcast. So you got that special honor. Things might happen, they might not happen. Everyone, enjoy yourselves. Bye.